Hey, what's up guys? John here. A lot of people don't know this, but I moved to Los Angeles in 2008. Became a real estate agent, and I had big ambitions. I loved California. I loved everything that it offered. It represented to me freedom. It represented a place where you could pursue your dreams and anything was possible. There was so much opportunity. You could go snowboarding and surfing in the same day. You could meet anybody. It was an awesome time. It really was. But things really took a big change, especially over the last couple of years. And what we're seeing happening right now is unbelievable. So much so that I relocated my family from there. And I never wanted to leave California. I planned on dying in California, but it just got out of control. And it's getting crazier and crazier and crazier. I hope to one day move back, maybe in 2024, 2025, when things really hit the fan and property values plummet. This is what I'm seeing happen right now. So there's a couple really big things. We've heard about the Union Pacific, the railway, all of the crime that's happening right there. Union Pacific, they have their own security. They've even partnered up with LAPD. The problem is the district attorney has a situation where they basically catch and release within 24 hours. The people that committed the crimes are back on the street and doing exactly what they did before. But what I'm seeing happen right now, it's fascinating. They did a series of things that you would only almost do unless you wanted to just destroy the market and the economy and the livelihoods of the people in California. So the first thing is that they just increased minimum wage, right? And this sounds, I want to take this back for a second, because a lot of people, they think if you are against it or if you're for it, you politically stand here or stand there. And I'm not a political guy. I don't talk politics. I simply just look at the numbers and I look at the real financial ability of what business owners and what employees, the relationship, that relationship has to work for everyone to have a job, right? And right now what we're seeing with inflation and with the supply chain issues and all the disruptions that are happening is that the cost of everything is going up for business owners, right? The cost is going through the roof. Well, Eric Garcetti just increased minimum wage to $16.04. Now, let's say, for example, that you own a coffee shop, and that coffee shop has 5 employees that are full-time, right? You have a manager, you have a couple people in the front, you have people making the coffee, right? Let's just say, hypothetically, it's five employees. It could be a deli, anything, right? 5 employees. Your monthly expenses, $12,864 for these employees. And let's say you're selling a $5 product. And let's say the profit margin is $2 of that $5 product. You'd have to sell 6,400 units per month just to pay for the employees. This does not include the lease payments, workers' comp, insurance, or even paying yourself, right? What I think ultimately is going to happen is that business owners are going to have 2 choices. First, is that item is going to go from $5 to $8, right? And the same people that need that extra minimum wage, the boosted minimum wage, are going to be paying for it when they go into the open market and go buy anything else in the open market. Or the second option is going to be they're just going to fire the employees, right? Because business owners need to extract more value from the employees for it to be worth hiring those employees. So what we're seeing that happen across all businesses now in LA. So you have the increased cost for all small businesses. The eviction moratorium is back in place until June of 2023. And what that means is that if a tenant stops paying rent, there's nothing you can do. That's nothing you can do. So the small mom and pop landlord, which is a majority of Los Angeles landlords that own these properties, are now struggling in their businesses and then also with their properties, right? They estimate that the debt for Los Angeles, just in unpaid rent, is between $600 and $1.3 billion, and it's roughly 250,000 renters behind on rent. So if we're gonna, and this is only the last 2 years, those numbers, if we're gonna go an 18-month period out, that number could 2 or 3x from here. So you might have $2.5, $3 billion in deferred rent. You might have 500, 750,000 renters behind on rent, right? So what is this gonna mean? Well, I'm seeing some of these policy changes with the eviction moratorium, and you're not allowed to increase rents, right? A lot of people are saying, well, rents are too high, right? But also factor in that these landlords, they're bleeding out on a lot of their other units, and they have to increase rents to make up for losses, right? And if they don't, then they're just going to lose their properties. And then ultimately what would happen? Really good chance that corporations just step in and start acquiring assets. I believe generally that what's going to happen here is that the district attorney, what they're doing is they're basically building out a playing field where crime is, it's like the purge, a police officer said. They said it's LA is like the purge. There was another gang member that came out and said, LA is not safe, don't come here, coming out on national television saying that, right? So they're setting it up with a huge block of crime all throughout California and Los Angeles. Even people in Beverly Hills are getting gats now. I mean, like, you have crime going through the roof. You have a really, really big chokehold on business and on property and real estate, right? So what ultimately is going to happen? I believe what we're going to be seeing here is we're going to be seeing a whole new dynamic in Los Angeles. And I think that the last thing that people need right now is to make things harder for small mom and pop businesses and mom and pop landlords. If inflation's getting out of control, who's going to be paying for that? It's going to be the business owners with everything that they have to stock up for their business. So you're going to hit them with that inflation, then you're going to hit them with increased wages. This is a recipe for disaster, right? We're literally watching Los Angeles change from this once beautiful place where people would travel all over the world to go to where now with the follow home robberies and all of the crime that's happening. If they do shut down a lot of these businesses with increased minimum wage, right? People really start getting in a desperate place. What are they going to do? They're going to do anything that they have to do to survive. And especially if there's a catch and release with 24 hours where they catch them, they basically just sign them and then they release them. It's survival of the fittest. People that don't have jobs, that do not have an ability to feed themselves or protect themselves, they're going to go out there and do whatever it takes to provide for themselves and their family. And this is the system. This is the ecosystem that's being built up in Los Angeles right now. There's a lot of bigwigs getting behind pushing out George Gascon, who was supported by George Soros. Soros put in several $1 million just to put Gascon in place. Gascon came from from San Francisco. So we're seeing this whole big dynamic unfold, and we're seeing some people stand up trying to fight this big change. I mean, it's a scary situation. Just, 9 months ago, a property in Los Angeles, I had a couple people that broke into a building that I owned, and there was an MMA fighter close by, literally detained them. Cops came, they caught them, they released them the next day, right? And this is a brand new unit. They would have just destroyed this place. And, what can you do? You can't do anything. This is the state of where Los Angeles is right now. And to me, what I think is going to happen in these expensive cities that push forward these policies with eviction moratoriums and increased minimum wages and increased costs for small business and all this inflation that's happening is that we're going to see these small businesses and mom and pop landlords likely die out because it's just going to be so hard to hold on to their properties. Property taxes are still due. All the other expenses, all the other money that has to go to the city is still due. It's just a moratorium on people getting paid, not except for the city. The city still gets paid. So what are we going to see? I think we're going to see a really, really big financial problem in Los Angeles in 2023, 2024. There's going to be massive opportunities for acquiring assets, even in the trophy neighborhoods. I believe like Beverly Hills and West Hollywood and Brentwood and the Palisades and Malibu and these areas, because these people that live there, they likely have businesses there. They likely have employees there, right? And there's all of these new policies, all of these new changes that are happening in Los Angeles right now, even with situations like, there's free paid sick leave that employers have to pay for employees, which is 80 hours that they have to give paid sick leave. So every single employer has to offer about $1,280 to every employee that says, they need paid sick leave, 2 weeks off, right? There's a lot of new changes coming, and I think it's going to make it just challenging for business owners, for residents of Los Angeles. It's a shame. It really is, because I love LA. I loved everything that it represented up until about a couple years ago. I mean, of course, it wasn't perfect. There was, some changes. Everyone would have their opinions about LA, but I loved it. You can go snowboarding and surfing the same day, like I said. You can do anything you wanted. There was no other place like it. With that climate, it was awesome. It was just an incredible place. Somehow they destroyed it though. I'm hoping it all changes. I'd love to bring my family back. I'd love to come back to Los Angeles. But it doesn't seem like it's going to happen in 2022. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen in 2023. Maybe in 2024, maybe in 2025. We'll see. I personally think that those values, those property values, are not going to be sustainable. Not with all these crazy new policies and all of this new change that's basically being jammed down the throat of Los Angeles. Drop your comments. What do you think about what's happening in LA with the eviction moratoriums, with the rail line, with all of the theft that's happening, with the increased minimum wage, everything that's happening throughout Los Angeles? It's literally one punch after the next. Drop your comments, tap that like button, subscribe here. If you like short form content, follow me on TikTok @thisisjohnwilliams. All right, guys, catch you later.